do not get brainwashed by the 90% no's and stay focused on what you're here, the value that you're bringing, and keep that iron mind of you're bringing people an opportunity, a huge opportunity to help them. They're just sick and tired of door knockers. Like that's not part of you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Door-to-Door Podcast. You know me by now. Been doing this for a couple of episodes. I'm Hunter Lee, and we got a really cool guest for you today, hailing all the way from San Antonio, Texas. We got him on the computer today. A little studio hiccup, but we're improvising. We got Mr. Don Chaguar, probably the coolest name I've come across. The Don Chaguar. I bet you got a lot of nicknames. Do you not?
Yeah, no, it's just Chaguar. Don is just part of the email strap right there. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude, are you a Chaguar on those doors out there?
You know what? On the good days, I try to be, for sure.
I love it. Well, Don is joining us from San Antonio, Texas. He's part of Luminate Solar, and I'm excited to kind of dive in and kind of get your story. Don. Do you prefer I call you Don or Chaguar, actually?
Yeah, there's no Don. Don's just in the email.
Oh, there's no Don.
Yeah.
It's just Chaguar.
Don actually is it's a Spanish term for like an older, like an older elder, D-O-N.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah.
Chaguar.
So I incorporated that just because I know eventually I'll be, older, and I might as well just start using it now. But no, it's just Chaguar. It's just Chaguar.
All right, Chaguar. Well, give the listeners that are tuning in right now a little background. Who is Chaguar? Where are you from? Are you a Texas boy, born and raised, or are you just there for work? Give us the rundown, dude.
I'll give the quick rundown. So I was born in LA. I was raised in Peru, in South America. Hey, you got the hat.
That's right.
And went back and forth between California and South America, but that's usually that's kind of where I hailed from. I grew up traveling a lot. My parents were moving around, and so I was just always on the go, always like moving around, making new friends, like never really staying in one spot. And so just after university, I was doing film, but I decided to, before this door-to-door space, I kind of just resigned from society, did the whole van life, backpacking, travel Central America. We lived up, abroad, and I know Spanish, so I could like get my way around like the locals area. So I did that for several years, and then I just started doing odd gigs back in the day when the ganja cannabis business wasn't so popular. I do the trimming situations and all that, so I was just getting like gigs just to get some money to live off like for the year. And so that was like my world for a while. And then flash forward, I was like in the jungle and eventually ran out of money, and I got not rescued, but I got grabbed back to society again. So I went to Utah, Salt Lake City area, and then I decided to just start Ubering, because I was used to not having a schedule or a boss or anything like that. So I was still in gig work, and I did that for about 3 years, and I just got to a point where I was wanting a change, and I had a friend of mine who I met at it was like a festival or an event, and he was just talking about how he did solar, and I heard a couple of my friends that were doing door-to-door solar, and it was like very light. And so when that friend actually got to me, I felt like my younger brother just had a baby at the time. So it's just like, I'm ready to like start planting roots and finding a way to actually generate, finances and learn the whole world of Monopoly that everyone plays. And so, I took an opportunity out to go door-to-door solar out in Illinois here about 2.5 years ago. And then I was with that local company out there, and I learned a lot. I mean, learned a lot. It was quite the experience.
So you just had a journey leading up to door to door. You were here, there, everywhere. I love it. Real quick, I don't want to go too deep into this, van life. I actually have a 1994 Dodge B250 out in the parking lot that I'm going to be taking up to the mountains today. I have done that van life where I've lived in it for quite a while. It's my baby. What van did you have, dude?
So I had a Dodge 1995 Dodge Ram van, 2500.
Same thing, basically.
It was white.
Yes.
I named it the White Pearl.
Oh my gosh.
And I decked it out. It was the whole thing.
Yes.
But the thing I learned a lot about van life is like, well, I didn't like just having my stuff everywhere. I mean, that's like the kind of like the norm. If you don't like tidy it up, like literally every second, everything just gets destroyed. So
exactly.
I try to glamp up, you know?
Yeah, dude. Glamping, it's the best. I like van life because it teaches you to live with just the bare minimum. You know what I mean? I had my van, my surfboards, my dirt bikes, my dogs, and my kids. And we were here, I mean, up and down the coast of Southern California.
Yeah, you get it then.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it. But now we're pulled back into society. Look at us. I love it. So let's jump into door to door, dude. So you got pulled in. You said a buddy brought you out there?
Yeah, so he'd been doing door to door, setting appointments, knocking doors for about 7-8 years at the time. So he was pretty experienced. And he had a group of guys who's like, dude, these guys are really good. They're very lined up with their integrity. They're doing good. They're doing right by their customers. Mm-hmm. Come out with me in a blitz in Illinois. And at first I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to, Illinois, like that's the Midwest. I'd never imagined going there. Nothing attracted me to it anyway. But,
yeah, man. I
was just like, I was in that point in my life. So I was like, you know what? This is a brand new opportunity. This is what I'm used to anyway. Just like, let's go all in, jump in. And I went out there and started knocking doors.
How did it go? What was that? Give me a rundown on those first few days. You know, you're kind of skeptical as is, right? Now you're going to a place that you don't want to be at in an industry you don't know. And now you find yourself knocking on doors. How was that like?
Yeah, so there's nothing I couldn't have imagined what was going to happen. I literally just took it. But when I got there, I mean, it was flat. The culture was very different, very little Hispanic people. I'm, Hispanic. So, whole different, just a whole different world. And then I've always been the person. I mean, I'm pretty good at like meeting people because from traveling, you get used to just like meeting all walks of life. Yeah. But even in that space, I was very specific on like who like I would connect with and vibe with, Mm-hmm. And so what door to door did is opened up a world of like, hey, I have to like be able to connect with everyone now. And just I didn't know what to say, what to do. I just like learned the pitch as best I could in that first week and just started. I got dropped off in an area. It was summer, so it was like humid, hot. I've been in Utah and California, so I'm used to just dry heat or not that much humidity. And so, I chafed a little. I was sweating. I was getting rashes. I was just, I didn't have a vehicle. So they housed me in a cool spot, but like I was just knocking from 9 a.m. to like 8 p.m. Every day. So it was brutal, man. It was ups and downs, and but there was something about it that like really, really attracted me to it. I really liked that every time I learned, every time I got better, like the more success would reflect that back to me. And it was up to everything there was like no hiding from it. Like it was like a skill set, also just like a tenacity, also just like a resilience that I had built through van life, backpacking, being in harsh environments. Sometimes like I had that, I don't know, what would you call it? Just like that weirdness where you're like, dude, yes.
Totally. So did you find success early on? Like, did you get you were setting, right? So did you get some like appointments that closed early on, or was it like 0-0?
I did get a couple appointments early on. Then it just kind of, it fell off a little bit. And it was supposed to just be a summer gig, a summer blitz situation. And, my friend sold me the dream of like, oh, you're going to make 40, 50K. But like the payment structure that they had and just like the ability of me to do that wasn't even close to that. So what I decided is like I had a choice. I'm like, okay, I this is as far as this goes. This is cool, but I'm here to like actually make some money. Yeah. I'm not just going to be here, even though it's fun. Like that's the whole point. I'm here. Otherwise, I'd rather just go back to where I like to be. So yeah, I just it was cool because it was a smaller company. So they gave me an opportunity. It's like, hey, dude, if you want to start running your own appointments, obviously that's when you start generating. It's a little bit tougher, but you're able to take the whole process all the way through. Like we can train you on it. And I was like, dude, I'm already new to setting anyway. So it's like learning it something else. It's like everything is new anyway. So I was just like, yeah, let's go. So yeah, I ended up switching over after about 3.5 months of setting. And I decided instead of leaving, I was just gonna switch over to closing my own appointments and being in home and doing the presentations for solar, educating the homeowners on the benefits. And so that's when, I was able to get assistance from our sales manager, on the first 3-4 deals. It was super nice for him to like run an appointment with me. And then like the part where we needed to like actually get to the decision, he was able to help out. But I was like paying attention, taking notes and like practicing. So yeah, it was I really did like that switch over. And then I began to start beginning to do my own appointments. And then so that lasted for like a year. Or after the 4 months, it was like another 6 months of doing that and just like getting really dialed in. And so I learned a lot more communication and just the process. And like at any point that can just like end and not to start all over again, and just referrals. And I don't know, it's just like a whole world. So
it's cool. Yeah. And now you're down in San Antonio and you're 2.5, almost 3 years in. You said, what has kept you in the industry for this length of time?
Well, so after that, I got to the point where there was like some turmoil with the company. And, I'd made a commitment in Illinois. I was like, I'm not like, after I went past the summer sales, I'm like, I'm going to stay here and stick this out until I become a professional at this. Because I was still, there's stuff I constantly was learning and improving on. And I had goals on how many I wanted to close in a month and all that. But because of the turmoil in the company, like the environment was no longer a place for me to, continue that and focus on that. There's stuff that happens, And so I left Illinois. And I kind of had like, I took the glove, I washed the hands, and I was just like, I'm gonna pause on solar and all this stuff. And a buddy of mine got me to come back to Utah to do some roofing. Okay. And so I was like, okay, I'll give roofing a try. I did it for like 3-4 months, and it was okay. It was different. I learned a different industry for a little bit, but it was nice to like not be in this whole like solar bubble for a second. And then San Antonio just happened here. I just recently, I'm coming out for a summer blitz here. Cool. But yeah, the reason I don't know, I missed, I guess, that whole environment after a bit of like, dude, I have all these skills I built up and I never finished. So like, it's, for me, it's like, I feel like I went to school and I got all these abilities and I learned all this stuff. And now I'm to a point where I want to take it to that next level, and actually like finish that mastery that I was setting my goals to do in the beginning.
So it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, the lure and the attraction to this industry is some people are in it for the money, like plain and simple. And it's very apparent. You can read it on their forehead, especially as they progress in the ranks as far as leadership. It's just like, commission breath as a sales rep. They just love it because of the money. They don't really enjoy it. They realize that they can do it. And it's not like a lot of people say, oh, I hate knocking doors, but the money's good. Sounds like you like the growth, development, the, that side of it, implementing what you learned in the past and just progressing as a human.
Yeah. it's an interesting thing too, as well, because growing up, like I was very shy and reserved, and like even like a lot of my parents, friends, and family members would ask if I was like disabled, because like if like is your son mute? Because like I was like not, I wouldn't talk. I would just sit there quiet for a long time. And so just to be in a place where I'm now, you know, using this as a career, where like my voice is my career, like my interaction is my career. It's like that contrast that helps me be like, you know, I'm not a natural introverted person that can just like be a sales whatever. I never even thought I'd ever be in sales, you know, with the whole stigmas of salespeople.
Yep.
But you know, being in this industry, like and linking up with D2D University and just Sam and all, you know, the stuff that they're doing helped me more and more as I was doing the door-to-door to shift that perspective and see myself more of a leader, you know, inspiring, helping people, and actually like guiding the process of change, you know, and that's like the process of change that I've learned throughout my life internally. And so to like help others cross that, you know, in a way that you can make a friend instantly and then like build that trust and actually genuinely be there to help them out, you know, and so yeah, to me it's like all of it is just the process. That's been since I left the society world of money making. Obviously money's important now, like it's always been important, but now it's like a focus. It's not like my idol. It's like what we need to thrive. And so, but what I'm, like you said, what I'm focusing on is just like what are the things that money can't buy, like from this whole entire journey, which is that,
yeah,
you know, all the stuff you attain through that, you know,
100%
self-development.
100%, dude. Everyone has different reasons or motivators as human beings. I feel like humans are motivated in many ways, but for me personally, like progress as a human and love, those two things are, they feel so good. And it's like, this industry is great because you have just this amazing opportunity that if you do things correctly, you can progress as a human, right? You can notice that progression, especially when you're in door-to-door sales, because you have to get better, you have to train, you have to practice, you have to implement, you have to execute. And as you do that day in, day out, you notice that progress based off of your results. So it's very fulfilling in that regards. And then you get to a point, like you mentioned, where, you know, you're able to take what you know and pour it into others. This is the love aspect. You're able to like take a friend that you bring into the industry, or if you're in leadership, people that you bring in, or people that you have the opportunity to be stewards over in this industry, you get to pour into them and see them succeed and be a part of their growth, and really just develop relationships with a multitude of people, customer facing and employee facing. It's a cool thing, man. It's really cool. And I like that you're motivated by that. You mentioned Sam and D2DU. So have you had access and watched any of the D2D University videos? Yeah,
no, that's what really helped the beginning of my journey, actually, just like straight up going into that. I mean, the company I was with was very involved with being like promoting that, and hey, like, you know, we have training, but like if you really want to take that to the next level, we got guys already in the program. And so,
in what specific ways would you say the D2DU has elevated your sales career?
Well, I mean, when I was really involved into it, it definitely, like, I think it fast tracked me for sure. Just a lot of things I was saying originally, just shifting my mindset of what I was doing, you know, just giving me like the tools of how to be at the doors, just examples on like the different types of like people and how they actually, like, you know, how there's different ways that everyone embodies their own unique personality into the sales, you know, and like what works for them, what doesn't work for others. It's just like having access to a network of other people who are in the industry, who are successful and who like are also very unique. at the same time can like help me to realize like I don't have to be specifically one certain way. If I can't fully be that, then I'm not going to succeed. It's just like I got to just find my own little pocket and see so many others that are like we're all in the same. It's just like having that camaraderie. I can't say that word, but that support, that network really helped. And then just like meeting, going to the sales boot camps, meeting Sam, just like feeling him out. Cause I'm a very like, I got to feel you out if I'm going to trust being here, like being led by you. And Sam has a really good foundation and, a grounding in what he's doing and what he's bringing, the integrity that he wants to continue cultivating in the door-to-door space is, it's inspiring and felt good to be a part of,
He's definitely the man to do it. I will say that I'm always like wowed by him and his ability to get buy-in, and he's genuine. Like I've sat in lots of his trainings. I do a lot of his media. In fact, after this podcast, we have a really fun media day filmed. Me and him, we're going to go get some thrift store buys. And then we're going to go and nice. Sam's going to actually sell them on the doors and try to turn a profit, kind of like Gary V, go to a garage sale and flip it. Like we're going to do that, but with door to door. And so, he's really cool. He cares a lot. And I often forget this because like in his realm now, like he's speaking and, he's a heavily requested speaker and coach, but I'm like, I often forget. I'm like, oh, dude, you are a G on the doors. You know what I mean? Like you're here because you know how to sell very well. And so I'm actually excited to go see him sell today. It's going to be fun to film. But yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I feel like Door-to-Door U and what he's brought to our industry is you can't put a price tag on it, because when you're at a company, you have your manager or managers, you have your leadership, and it's like those are your people that you have to learn from and get trained by. Not that that's a bad thing. And if you're at a company that has a training platform, like it's very like, this is our stuff. Whereas Sam's been able to bring in a multitude, like you mentioned, a network of top performers across every industry. And so it's like you have access to just the best of the best across the board. And it's truly invaluable. And I wish it wasn't around when I was starting out, but yeah, it's really good. I'm glad that you're able to jump in. And if you're listening to this and you need training, you feel like training's an area where, you're lacking, listen to Chaguar, listen to me. I heavily recommend Door-to-Door U. It's not expensive and you will get your money back after watching 2 videos. And we're having a whole new revamp of it coming soon. So stay tuned. Little Door-to-Door U 2.0 hype. But cool, man. So right now you're in San Antonio and you're setting. So you've done both. You've set appointments and you've done this self-generating avenue as well. Which do you prefer and why?
I would say obviously I prefer doing the whole process myself. I feel like, to me, it's still when I'm doing setting right now, I'm feeling a little bit more difficult in like passing it to the expert. And sometimes I get asked questions and I'm like, I catch myself like saying too much at the doors, so I'm like in the midst of retraining myself just to set for now, just a certain amount of time, just like pure setting and remembering what that basics of that is like. So, but yeah, ultimately I want to be there through that whole process. I'm here for that because that's where I left off and that's where I want to finalize, and really, because at that point it's all up to you fully,
For sure. It's up to you.
You find a door. Yeah. And then you go through the process and then you go to the house and you build a rapport and you teach the customer about solar, about the benefits. And then, the scary part happens when they're like, oh no, we're doing this today. And then you gotta be that genuine, person, that leader for them, that the professional to be like, hey, I know change is scary, but let's just do it. Let's just go now. And then that is just the goal, I feel like, for me, just to be like, wow, I was able to go through that whole thing, and
for sure. being able to take someone from like skeptical, not interested, to signing a solar contract an hour and a half later, or even sooner, is it's a feat, dude. It feels really good. Also, like, I'm not against the setter closer model at all. I love it. Like, it's fantastic. But for me personally, and maybe for you as well, like obviously you just mentioned, it sounds like you're a people person. And I mean, we all know this. We're not selling solar. We're not selling roofing. We're not selling fiber or pests. We're selling ourselves when we're on the doors, really. We just have a product to offer. And a lot of times you knock a door and you're able to really connect with that person. And that connection, you know, you as an individual is what's going to be the catalyst to get them to buy. And if you pass it off to someone, maybe they won't connect with that person like they connected with you. And then like, I've had situations where I've set appointments for people that I was like, oh, 100% going to close. And then they go in, they're like, yeah, they didn't close. Even if the appointment was an hour after I knocked the door, you know what I mean? It's just like, what? No way. They were like, but it's like, again, it's you. It wasn't, oh, they just really wanted solar. They didn't really want roofing. They just were interested because there's something about you they're able to connect with, that rapport building, you know? So I agree completely. I like to be the one from start to finish. I trust myself. Not that I don't trust other people, but it's like, I don't know, if that connection is there and you feel like you can get the job done, I'm on your page, get the job done. You know what I mean? So you're on a blitz right now. What's your days look like? How do you structure your days for like to just maximum success and productivity?
Yeah, so it's interesting because with the blitz right now, the scheduling is a little bit different than what I started out with, in terms of like you have a first part of the day where it's all about you know, you're getting your mental state, you're writing your goals, you're getting what you need to do done. And then, you know, come 2:00, and then we meet, and then we go through that entire till 9, you know, 8 to 9, essentially. So it's like, that's the golden time to knock in general anyway. So they're optimizing that schedule. So I think it's been nice in some ways for me to have that time for myself in the beginning, to really like, you know, solidify. So it's not like this whole like constantly like, I don't have there's no pauses. It's just like a constant grind. But yeah, I don't know. It's obviously, that's just like the environment. But I feel like once, pretty shortly here, I'll probably start, because I'm more of a day person. Like, even though I know like most people aren't home, like I have a lot more energy myself during like the morning to midday sections of the day. And in the past, I'm always able to find someone that's home and that's interested, and it's like a different type of. And then once it gets to like the prime knocking hours, do that too. But we'll see. I mean, I definitely want to maximize my time out here, and I'm in the same situation where like, well, you know, I am here in the summer blitz, but there's options to stay in San Antonio and really just hone in on here. So we'll see where it goes. Either way, I'm happy to be, you know, back on the solar coaster, like people call it. And it's just something, again, that's, I mean, I've you know, throughout my travels, obviously it's been the basis of development spiritually and internally, and I've done meditations. I've been to retreats. I've done the plant medicines, and still, out of all that, this environment is the toughest environment that I've put myself in, and I want to see it through. You know,
for you, man. Yeah, seek challenge. You know, don't seek comfort. Sounds like you're doing just that. Question for you, since you're in the thick of it. Two-parted question. One, what's your take on the solar industry in America right now with the big, beautiful bill and all of that going on? How are you handling that? What's your take? And two, is it something that's kind of well known from the consumer end on the doors? Is that something you're having to face as you knock?
Yeah, so I just recently, I saw, because I like Michael O'Donnell a lot. I think he brings a very grounded perspective to the industry. I mean, everyone mostly is pretty young. And so having an older elder be like, here are the facts, here's what's going on, like helps solidify a little bit of that for me. And so Just it's like it's when net metering is going away. It's just urgency at the doors. It's just like we don't really know the future ever. Solar is one of those industries that it's like it's now. Things are changing. Things may not change, but things aren't sure. So like what you see now is going to be different down the road. So it's always good to get in when you can, when you could have gone. So yeah, I've been using that at the doors here and there. When I can. I probably want to bring more into it, because now that I saw that, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is it. This is the last time possibly that people can get those tax credits, because without that, then solar is going to change completely. And at the end of the day, I feel like solar, the industry's had a cool little pocket where it's, you get money to go solar. There's nothing else, mostly like where you sell something where you're like, oh, you're getting paid to do it. Yep. So it's going to have to change into selling the product at the price that it is, and just bringing the value of why it still would make sense. And if it even does make sense, it'll be a little bit more selective, but still, like, you're always going to find, with technology changing, solar, it's a more efficient way to power the home in the neighborhood, rather than having to have lines going from all over the place, miles and miles, and pull energy that dissipates and all this stuff. Because we got AI, we're charging Teslas and whatnots. We got smart homes next, probably, Yep. And so we got to find better ways to keep that energy going.
For sure. And we will. Like, I was part of the California NEM 2 to NEM 3 switch, when they made that, they passed that, everyone freaked out, huge sense of urgency. Every company that was in California just saw a boom in production, because every sales rep was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, and they went out with just like urgency on a silver platter, and they worked harder than they ever did. Yeah. And they pressed people, and it worked volume wise. And then the switch happened to NEM 3, and so many reps were like, it's over now in California, and they fled the state, and installers packed up. But a few of us stayed, and just not improvise, but just, versed ourselves in the product knowledge. Yeah. Batteries, and adapted our sales process. We're not selling on savings anymore. We're selling on the value, we're selling on independence, blah, blah, blah. And the company I was at and a few others just maintained good, steady volume. So it'll be curious to see when if it does, it's still got to, we still have time before it goes to the Senate. If it switches, how the industry reacts. Right now, I feel like, and people have said this, Michael Donald has said it, my buddy John Soriano, I've seen him say it. Sam said it. It's like, dude, you guys have gotten a gift right now, 90 days, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, to go out and really have a valid reason for people to do this today. Like you were saying earlier, it's like, well, you need to do it today. And this is why, because it's up in the air right now. And if you decide to do it in 4 months from now, it's going to be vastly different for your pocketbook and for your savings. So good for you for realizing that. And I hope you're able to just get a boost in your volume out there in San Antonio. Kind of to wrap up here, I have a couple questions for you, just to kind of see your stance. One is, I like to ask this to everybody. So if you're listening, sorry for the repetition, but I always get good answers from it. I love this question. It's, if I was one of your new hires, if I was in your passenger seat in your car right now, me and you're headed to area, and I was like, Chaguar, my first day, no sales experience, but I want to be good. I want to be like you. What's your best piece of advice that I can do right now, focus on right now, to get the quickest way to success?
Yeah, no, I've just thinking back to when I was in that spot, but it's a thing that it's all like still in my forefront, and that's just focus on sifting through the neighborhood. Just knock the hours, knock the numbers. It's not about like wherever you're at right now, whether you're starting or you're a bit more professional. It's not always about changing someone's mind. It's no's are like okay, and that's like the biggest thing that's been ingraining over and over. Like the whole part of this job, why it pays the money it pays, is because you're gonna get rejected like 90% of the time. People are gonna be like, no thanks, not interested. And so if you're just doing your first day or whatnot, and you're getting mostly no's, or you don't get a set, to think like, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not supposed to be here, this isn't for me. it's not for everyone, but to at least give it its time to be like, this is just part of it, incorporate it as it's part of you, and not let that seep into you. It's all meant. It's what happens between the ears. It's all mental, and so do not get brainwashed by the 90% no's and stay focused on what you hear, the value that you're bringing, and keep that iron mind of you're bringing people an opportunity, a huge opportunity to help them, and you can't let other people who are not informed and who are what not mentalities or what experience they have with other people and blah blah blah, or they're just sick and tired of door knockers. Like that's not part of you. Like don't let it sink in, I guess. So yeah, that would be my advice. It's just like stay focused on your goal, on your why, and just know that no's all part of the process. You're not here to get everyone or 50% of the people or 70 or 80%, otherwise you're a failure or whatnot, and that comes in time as the more you know and the more you're able to find the nuances and guide people away from their misconceptions. But that's still, you're never going to be just full, I can change people's mind like that. Like they have their own autonomy no matter what, so you're just there to help.
You can control what you can control, and don't get mad because the part you can't control didn't go the way you wanted it, because it's not in your control. It's a great answer, man. I feel like some people forget. It's like if you had a job every day to chop down a tree and you're given an axe, and it'll take 200 chops at that tree, 200 axe swings for the tree to finally fall. Getting mad by getting someone to say no is like getting mad because after 3 chops, that tree didn't fall. It's like, of course it didn't fall. Like it's going to take you doing it over and over again, 100, 200 times, but that tree will fall as long as you keep going in. Don't get mad or don't expect that every swing you're going to have that tree fall down. It's like, just keep doing the process. Like you said, work the hours day in, day out, keep swinging that axe. And guess what? That tree's going to fall. You're going to get a sale. You're going to get a result. And as time goes on and you keep learning and improving, you'll learn different techniques, different swings, right? Different angles. Yeah, and maybe you'll get that tree to chop sooner than you would the first time you ever swung at it. But it's like, just keep swinging that axe and don't get mad. It's like, swing. Nothing. Oh, dude, I can't do this. I'm going to quit. It's like, dude, you got to keep swinging. What are you talking about? And some days it takes 400 chops for that tree to fall down. Some days you're able to just, you're in that state of mind and you're having good swings and it falls down in 150. It's just a metaphor, but it's always funny. I often told my reps, I'm like, dude, you got to keep swinging that axe. And if you do, that tree will fall. Don't get mad if it doesn't fall after the first couple. I love it, dude.
Yeah, that's perfect. I might take that one, actually. I've never heard that.
Take it, dude. Yeah, it's a good one. Last question before we wrap up. If you were to get a phone call from a job offer you couldn't say no to, and you had to leave the industry today, Chaguar's door-to-door career is done, you're moved on, what would be your biggest takeaway from the last 2.5, 3 years of knocking doors?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway would be that I'm just capable more than I've thought. That I'm not a certain way, that I'm malleable, that I'm able to shift with my environment and succeed and be successful and thrive. That people, this business is about, relationships, connecting with people, and generally just being there to support and be of service is, the focus that it's actually been, that has brought me the most, in my life, and especially in this as well. So yeah, my takeaways would be just like, wow, you did this. There's no way, like if you told me this 10 years ago that I would even think about wanting to do this or think that I even would be successful enough to make anything out of it. So
sure, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. It's going out every day, day in, day out, doing one of the hardest jobs mentally you can do, and oftentimes physically not the hardest, but battling elements. I'm sure it's pretty hot in San Antonio. You're walking 5, 10 plus miles a day. You're dealing with rejection. You're dealing with that space between your ears, those mental demons. And somehow, some way you push through it, you grit through it, you persevere, and you're able to pull a transaction out of thin air. If you can do that repeatedly, there's a lot you can do in this life. And so I agree with you, man. Like the lessons you learn and the things that you're able to teach yourself in this industry translates to so many different elements, not just in the workplace, but in life. And It's really cool, man. But thanks for hopping on, Chaguar. I appreciate you. You're a good dude. I wish nothing but the success out there. And you should look at the Elite again. Look at some boot camps. We have a leadership boot camp coming up Monday, Tuesday. Obviously, it's a little late for that, but door-to-door con's coming up. I'd love to meet you in person, get you back here in the Hive, get around this high-level network, make connections with people that can serve you down the line. And it's a cool ecosystem to be a part of. But thanks for hopping on. Hope you guys took some stuff away from Chaguar. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.